Hey all, John here. Welcome back to my channel, and today we're going to be doing a quick video about my network. I'm going to start off by saying my main firewall or router, since it doesn't have much processing power, is the Ubiquiti ERX. So I got this device probably about 7 months ago. Been running it. When I first got it, it was limited to doing about 500 up and down based on speed tests from speedtest.net. I flashed over to OpenWRT because I wanted some additional features, and I'm able to get basically my max download speed. I'm paying Comcast about what is it, $50 for about basically 1 gig down, 100 up, just so I really need those upload speeds, and to get at least 100 meg, you need to have the gigabit plan. So I'm doing that, and that's been running great. My main core switch is also the Ubiquiti 16 PoE. It used to be the UniFi 8 Lite PoE, but I am thinking that I want to expand my 7820 and to get some more PCIe, get some more bandwidth on 1 gig. Something about doing probably 4 times LACP for basically 4 1 gig links. So if I want to do more, let's say VM storage, it sounds clunky, but honestly, I don't want to buy the UniFi Flex because it's only 5 ports, and I already have 4 devices. Basically, yeah, four devices that would fill up the entire PCI, not PCI, the entire switch. And I think my only reasonable option is the USW aggregation from Ubiquiti right now. But yeah, I'm going to be doing that. So I'm basically running the 16 PoE. I'm going to do 4 1 gig links on LACP just to experiment. It's not a crazy home network. My main access point is the UniFi 6 Lite. That's been working great. I've been thinking about going for the enterprise version with 6E, but honestly, I'm not editing photos all over the Wi-Fi network. I have 10 gig for that, so I should sit down at the desk and start working that way. And then I think the main thing that I need to show you guys is my Ubiquiti controller. I used to have the old Cloud Key that worked until I got my 16 PoE switch, and then I basically had to move that into a Ubuntu VM. So I'm running that as of right now. And now we're going to move over to my Mac, and I'm going to show you what the back end of all this looks like, probably starting with the new UniFi controller. So you see the visual network map of what this looks like, and then I'll show you my virtualization system where that's running on XCP-ng, as I've talked about in my past videos. So let's move over to the Mac.
Alrighty, welcome to the Mac, and now I'm going to show you my UniFi controller. So this is actually running on top of not Debian, Ubuntu. So I've deployed this today. It's running on just the basic Ubuntu desktop. I'm probably just gonna run it on Ubuntu server, even though it's the same OS, just so I have some a little bit less overhead of running an entire desktop environment. But it was my first time setting this up because I was not able to set this up in Docker. But this has replaced basically that old cloud key that I was using before. Network map is fully functional, super cool to look at. I have 3 UniFi devices, not including the 8 PoE switch that I'm no longer using. And then I've been getting good results running UniFi. I think I have been running that access point, the 6 Lite, for at least 2 years now, and it's been amazing. No problems there. I have noticed that I have some more options available in this version that's locally hosted compared to that older cloud key. So all happy there. Nothing crazy. Um, but yeah, it's all good information to look at. I am gonna move over to XCP-ng just to show you, or Zen Orchestra, just the UI part, just to show you what that looks like. So I have a couple different VMs running. I think my most important VM that's running right now is probably my Pi-hole. That blocks a lot of the ads and even gets my Samsung TV to stop talking so much to the internet. Um, Home Assistant is there, but I don't know if I'm gonna keep that running and for how long. WireGuard hasn't been set up, but I will be deploying that at some point here just so I can access my internal resources when I'm not home. Um, this is just another duplicate VM that I should probably delete soon. Thumbtack, that's just for marketing purposes. It's there. Trillium, I'm honestly not using Trillium anymore. I've moved to Obsidian as my primary notes app, but I'm going to leave that inactive just until I do need it. UniFi, we were just looking at, that's just think it's 22.04 LTS. Windows 10. I used to journal a lot a couple years back, using the OneNote application, but I'm on a Mac now, so now I literally have a VM that has no internet access, only connects to my NAS. Just to cache that is, I think it's a 40 gig um, OneNote journal, so that just sits. I installed XCP-ng Center while I was troubleshooting Zen Orchestra. Um, so it's on there, but there's no internet access. Quicken just has Quicken for desktop on Windows installed in there in that VM. Nothing crazy. I was playing on Windows XP at one point. That's just there. And then XOA, which is this appliance we're using right now. So there are my VMs. Heimdall has not been set up, so we skip that. And yeah, the 7050 is running all of this on its 32 gigs of RAM, and it's doing quite well, I would say. And this is what that looks like. So that's it's just an ERX from Ubiquiti that's running on here. Nothing crazy. Um, I like the fact that I'm getting better speeds and I have more features, so that's good. I do not think I'll be using this to run WireGuard anytime soon because this just doesn't have that much processing power. And as you can see, it's been online for a long time, so it's been running really well. I'm going to give you guys a brief overview of my TrueNAS scale server. So I've talked about this in previous videos. TrueNAS scale is basically what I use for my NAS. It hosts everything. Um, as you can see, I have about 64 gigs of RAM. I still am using the same processor from the last time I did an overview on this. Storage is still looking good. Um, no need to upgrade just yet. My data sets, this is mostly for business and some personal use. And then let's see, just so you guys can get an idea of what my settings look like. This is actually set up in a way where I'm using basically my 10 gig card has two outputs. So the first output is going into my desktop, my old workstation, the 12700K system, and then the second NIC on that 10 gig card is going to a 10 gig Thunderbolt 4 adapter. So that's 10.200 address. I just haven't had the time to buy a 10 gig switch yet, just because I honestly, if I can just statically map these, that works just fine. The only time I have an issue is when I'm trying to connect to the internet, and now it's like, let's say on the workstation, it doesn't know what NIC to use, so it gets confused. So there's a bit of a delay, but it eventually works. As of right now, I only have two of the 1 gig adapters connected, basically the internal 1 gig, and then I have a quad port NIC connected. I only have one of those links that is plugged into the switch. I plan to do 4 1 gig links and then use that with LACP. So let's say if I do have multiple virtualization hosts, they would all use one pipe of that of the 4 lanes, and that would max out the connection, and also my sync thing wouldn't be throttled as well. So that is what my thinking process is for LACP, but it may be more than it may not even be worth the time. So we'll see. I just haven't bought the cables, the Ethernet cables that I'll need, and then I also need to get a rack mount for my system, which I haven't done. We're going to move over to the apps and virtualization piece. I have no VMs running on TrueNAS scale because I do that all in XCP-ng. For apps, these are basically all Docker containers. Nextcloud I have not touched. I've just been experimenting with that. NetData is super useful. That's just a public link on my network, so it just shows you what TrueNAS is doing. Another weird issue I had on the Mac is that it cannot access all these resources, so I actually have to run this through a Fedora VM. I don't have time to figure out what it is. I just know that there's a WebKit failure somewhere, and I feel like it's not worth it trying to fix as of right now until I get there. PhotoPrism has been useful, but I have not deployed this to my iPhone just yet, so I don't have much to report on it. Sync thing is probably the most important Docker container that's running, and this is just for like diagnostic purposes. I don't really use this extension. So with sync thing, I actually have this syncing my documents and my photos directory over to my iPad and all the other devices. And of course, the Obsidian basically allows me to get away from iCloud a little bit with iCloud Notes. So basically, let's say if I wanted to just leave iOS again, it would be a lot easier because I'm not tied into the Apple ecosystem as much, at least with the services. I would be able to back up everything with iMacing, and then from there, like my contacts, my calendar, all of that would be in a way where it's accessible on other devices that are not in that Apple world. But I noticed it was probably the biggest thing that was hard to move because even if I was able to export them, I had to manually copy and paste them in. But honestly, sync thing has been working really well. The only downside on the Mac, not on the Mac, but on the iPhone and the iPad, is that it's not always running. It has to send a notification when it runs. Versus on Android, you just get one person's notification and it's always going. But it's basically really good peer to peer file synchronization without using the cloud. I actually have mine disabled for running over the internet, and I only run it when it's the only time sync thing runs is when it's on my local LAN. So let's say the iPhone, it won't sync my photos when I'm outside. I can enable that, but I choose not to. I just rather be all on the same network rather than trying to run complex encryption and all that stuff. So on top of that, mobile networks usually aren't that fast with upload speeds. But thanks again for watching this video. I hope you gained something from it. Hope to upload my next video soon, and thanks again. I'll see you in the next video.